The 7 deadly sins: greed, lust, envy, pride, gluttony, wrath, and sloth. There are 7 more YouTubers in particular that perfectly represent these 7 deadly sins, starting with gluttony. According to Merriam-Webster, gluttony is greedy or excessive indulgence, and by that definition, the YouTuber Amberlynn Reid is a sad but fitting representation of the sin. What makes her story sad is that at one point she symbolized overcoming gluttony instead of embracing it. On November 17th, 2013, Amberlynn posted her first ever video titled Nervous plus Awkward plus Weight Loss Vlog.
My name's Amberlynn and I wanted to start a YouTube channel for weight loss.
She was met with numerous positive comments commending her bravery and noting that her openness about her own weight loss journey was inspiring others to follow in her footsteps. But following in her footsteps would quickly turn out to be a bad idea, as only 1 week after her first video, she would make it clear she had an extremely pessimistic attitude about her potential to actually make progress.
I don't have willpower like I used to. This week I want to be down at least 3 pounds. I remember the days where I was down 3 pounds a day, but I'm never gonna be that again.
This set the tone for the beginning of Amberlynn's journey, as in the following weeks she reported a consistent weight gain instead of the desired loss.
So I did my weigh-in. I was up 2.8. You guys probably are getting frustrated with me maybe, because every time I weigh in, I'm like not losing.
As the new year rolled around, Amberlynn created a resolution to get below 300 pounds and actually made some significant progress towards this goal. She reached a weight of 349 pounds, losing an impressive 20 pounds from her weight of 370, but unfortunately, this was the lowest her weight would go. From this point on, Amberlynn's weight slowly started to spiral out of control. It appeared that Amberlynn had become frustrated with the negative direction of her journey and decided to give it up altogether.
This title is not clickbait at all. I am done with my weight loss journey.
The content on her channel became more focused on the food she was eating, with many mukbang style videos. These videos unfortunately gained more views than talking about her weight loss journey ever did, creating a backwards incentive structure like we previously saw in Nikocato's channel. At this point, Amberlynn was well aware that her audience was made up primarily of people hate watching her, and the sad reality of a situation like this is that your audience on YouTube are the people who are technically paying the bills. This kind of hate watching dilemma isn't unique to Amberlynn. The next person on this list is also stuck in the same unfortunate situation and is our candidate for wrath. Wrath is defined as extreme anger. Jordy Jordan, aka Wings of Redemption, embodies wrath to the fullest degree. But Jordy wasn't always like this. He had his start in the early days of YouTube making laid-back Call of Duty commentary videos. He built up a reputation for himself as a chill, relatable guy who was open and honest about what he was feeling and thinking about. We can pinpoint his wrathful beginnings to one fateful night when he began to feel threatened by another Call of Duty player who was supposedly better than he was at the game. After talking down to the player whose name is Syndicate, they decided to set up a 1v1 match. The rules were set as the player who could reach 30 kills first, or who had more kills after 10 minutes, would win. After a very intense match, Syndicate came out on top with 14 kills compared to Jordy's 9. This loss sent Jordy into a rage, causing him to break his controller and blame his friend for the whole ordeal.
Wings, did you spawn in?
I broke my controller. Why the f you stream that shit?
It was your idea.
No, I didn't say stream it.
This event would severely tarnish Jordy's reputation and mark the beginning of the public perception that he wasn't the chill guy that everyone thought he was. With his tarnished reputation, Jordy's YouTube views began to slowly dry up. He decided to switch to streaming on Twitch, where he had access to live donations and monthly paid subscriptions. But the decision to broadcast himself live highlighted Jordy's wrath in a way that was never witnessed before. Even though streaming allowed Jordy access to these new income opportunities, it prevented him from editing out his extreme outbursts of anger. This dynamic created a cesspool of toxicity where Jordy's viewers try everything they can to get a reaction out of him. Based off what we know about Jordy, it's definitely fair to say that his wrath wasn't very calculated, but the YouTubers who represent greed were extremely strategic in their sin. Greed is defined as a selfish and excessive desire for more than something than is needed. And what better example is there of greed on YouTube than when in early 2016, Benny and Raffi Fine tried to legally trademark the whole of the reaction genre.
We are excited to announce React World, which is a first-of-its-kind program that allows people and companies to license all our popular shows online.
In entertainment industry terms, when you create a version of a show based on someone else's format, this is called licensing, which many TV shows have done over time. For example, Britain's Got Talent and America's Got Talent.
If you had no idea what kind of content the Fine Bros produced, that pitch may have seemed somewhat reasonable, like the example they gave of America's Got Talent licensing Simon Cowell's format and IP of Britain's Got Talent for an American audience makes a lot of sense. But once you learn that their format was putting someone in front of a computer and filming their reaction to an already existing piece of content, their obvious greed comes to the surface. The Fine Bros React trademark announcement proved to backfire on them quickly as they lost over 500,000 subscribers in the week following the news. After this massive backlash, they responded to a viral Reddit thread in r/videos in an attempt to explain they'd only been trying to trademark the quote-unquote structural elements of their series. Along with their Reddit AMA, they released what most people consider to be one of the worst apology videos in YouTube history. Following the theme of the Reddit response, this apology seemed to blame their audience for not understanding what they were actually trying to say. When their sub count wouldn't stop dropping, they hoped everyone would forget about what happened and released a written statement where they said they would be canceling their React World program. But bizarrely enough, the Fine Bros PR strategy appeared to have worked. 4 months later, they had recouped all their lost subs and were growing once again. Their sin didn't appear to have ended their career at all, but this couldn't be said for the next YouTuber on this list, whose sin caused him to lose literally everything and is our candidate for lust. Merriam-Webster defines lust as unbridled sexual desire, especially when you sacrifice something because of it. The ex-YouTuber known as EDP445 fits this definition perfectly. His sexual desires led him to sacrifice his YouTube account with over 2 million subscribers, but more than that, his entire life. EDP445, aka Brian Moreland, was once a very well-liked YouTuber known for his willingness to speak his mind. He began his channel in the early days of YouTube, growing his catalog of videos which mainly consisted of him ranting about all things Philadelphia Eagles. His uniquely raw style gained him a decent amount of notoriety among other Eagles fans and landed him an interview in the Philadelphia magazine where he's described as having a cult following. Following his appearance in the article, Bryant would slowly but surely continue to build up his subscriber base, but at some point his viewers would notice an odd amount of videos were focused on his love for adult content. One slightly disturbing standout video recounted the time he stole multiple bras from his local laundromat. In hindsight, these videos may have been early warning signs of Bryant's malicious side, but his audience at the time wrote them off as part of his quirky personality. But it wouldn't be long until this facade of the quirky personality came crumbling down.
So what is this, man? Come on, ED445. I thought you said you're not a right? Okay, so why'd you text 5 underage girls? Why'd you fall for this decoy account? Why'd you fall for it? That's you, right? Let's click on your name. Oh, you have me blocked.
This video is from Cold Raven, a small YouTuber who catfished Bryant with an account of a fake underage girl. It was this video, along with Cold Raven reporting on real underage girls Bryant was texting, that speculation began of more sinister intentions. These speculations would be confirmed when the infamous EDP Cotton 4K video was uploaded to YouTube. A channel called Predator Poachers created an elaborate to catch a predator-esque sting operation by luring Bryant to meet them with a girl he believed to be 13. After being exposed, Bryant got banned from every major social media platform because of how he embraced his sin. The next YouTuber on this list still has a massive social media presence but turned his life upside down and is our candidate for Pride. Pride is defined as inordinate self-esteem, an unreasonable conceit of one's own superiority in talents, beauty, wealth, and accomplishments, essentially believing you are something greater than you actually are. This perfectly describes the sad situation of the Ace family, a family vlog channel built on a massive foundation of prideful lies. It's clear that from the very beginning, the Ace family channel was created by Austin and Catherine McBroom as a vanity project. In all their videos, you get the impression that they are trying to come across across as the picture-perfect family, and at the time, it was working. They gained 1 million subscribers in less than 1 year after starting the channel and began to grow an audience of dedicated fans. As the channel's growth ramped up, so did the not-so-subtle materialistic undertones of the content. Expensive Louis Vuitton bags for mom, an endless supply of new shoes, new clothes, and so many new cars. All these items would give off the overwhelming impression of success, but whether they could even afford all this stuff came into question when they posted a tour of their brand new LA mansion. After some detective work, viewers quickly figured out that the new house the Ace family had supposedly bought was just a lease. Now, there's nothing inherently prideful about renting a house, but it was the fact that they wanted their viewers to believe they owned it where their pride came through. It wouldn't be long until the Ace family moved into an even more luxurious house, except this time they were actually buying it. The McBrooms made the extremely irresponsible decision of taking out what's called a hard money loan in order to finance their new property, which cost them a total of $10 million. A hard money loan comes from a private entity versus a traditional lender like a big bank. These loans have extremely high interest rates and are typically used exclusively by house flippers because of their short payback window. To no one's surprise, not long after purchasing the house, the McBrooms defaulted on their loans, putting their property into foreclosure. The Ace family put themselves in financial ruin because of how they embraced their sin. But bizarrely enough, our candidate for Sloth has become richer than ever by embracing theirs. Choosing a candidate for Sloth is actually pretty difficult, more so than the other sins. This is because if someone is significant enough to be on this list, they are reasonably successful in one way or another. Sustained success inherently requires a level of consistency and dedication, which is the opposite of sloth. So I needed to choose someone not who isn't dedicated at all, because in a YouTube sense, this would just be never uploading a video, but someone who deliberately chose the easy path. And when trying to find someone who chose the easy path, I didn't need to look any further than Ethan Klein. Ethan, once being one of the most loved YouTubers on the platform, has transitioned into a mediocre, easily offended podcast host. What makes this transformation especially tragic is that Ethan has become exactly the kind of person he used to roast in his glory days. He got his start by being the conscience of YouTube in a sense, disavowing some of the awful content that dominated the platform in the early 2010s. Ethan and his wife Hila pioneered the now extremely popular genre of the reaction video, with a focus on cringeworthy topics they could make fun of. Along with these roasting type videos, Ethan and Hila started to experiment with different IRL content, like their modern art video, 100 layers of beanies, and the classic Vape Nation video. If one thing was clear during this time, it was that Ethan had a genuine passion to create the best content he possibly could. But as the years went on, this genuine passion would sadly disappear. On April 7th, 2017, Ethan and Hila launched a new project, the H3H3 podcast. At first, the podcast was incredible, growing exponentially due to their ability to share the never-before-heard stories of large YouTubers. As the podcast continued to grow, the amount of uploads on the main channel would begin to shrink to a halt. From a business standpoint, this made a lot of sense because the podcast could have up to 4 sponsors in one episode and be made on a much more consistent basis. From a content standpoint, H3 fans were being deprived from what made them love Ethan in the first place. Even though Ethan Klein is embracing sloth and not leaving his comfort zone, his podcast channel isn't really suffering from a decline in views, unlike the next YouTuber on this list and our candidate for envy. Tati Westbrook was a once very successful makeup creator that now struggles to pull in 3% of her 8 million subscribers. It's true that the makeup genre on YouTube saw somewhat of a decrease in popularity over the last 4 years or so, but if we take a look at someone in the same space as Tati, for example Manny Mua, we can see his channel shows nowhere near as drastic of a decrease in views. So if it wasn't a lack of interest in the genre, what caused this problem for Tati? The answer to this question is her envy. On April 22nd, 2019, Tati would post a 4-minute and 53-second long series of Instagram stories where she is visibly upset and crying. In these stories, she talked about someone not mentioned by name who had supposedly used her.
I'm just so upset. I feel really used. Welcome to business. Everybody says what they need to say and uses who they need to use to get ahead, and I have had about enough.
A few weeks later, Tati would make this anonymous person known in her infamous Bi Sister video. In the video, Tati essentially tries to paint a fellow makeup YouTuber, James Charles, as a predator who preys on straight men. The being used aspect refers to how James took an Instagram sponsorship from a vitamin brand that was in competition to Tati's. After she posted the video, Tati made another statement on Instagram doubling down on James's predatory behavior. Predatory behavior should not be swept under the rug or justified away based on someone's age. This is not the way people should be treating each other. I know that and I need to speak up on this. It's not out of hate. I truly wish for change and healing. But when the supposed victim came out with his own video disclosing that he was actually the one who reached out to James first and then decided to make out with him, the predator narrative would be thrown out the window. Keep in mind, this was long before any of the newer allegations toward James were made. At this point in time, James was truly innocent. So if the video wasn't made because James was actually a predator, why would James taking a small sponsorship from a competitor make Tati want to end her relationship with James, her supposedly close friend? The answer is envy. But Tati wasn't alone. The whole Bi Sister video was an orchestrated attack between Jeffree Star, Shane Dawson, and Tati. 3 stagnating beauty YouTubers that didn't like the fact that James was dominating the market with his meteoric rise. Tati claims she was manipulated into making the video by Shane and Jeffree, but Charlie puts it best on why that excuse doesn't add up.
Tati is nearly 40 years old and she knows what she's doing. She knew what she was doing with the James Charles situation.
Tati's envy cost her reputation, and in the YouTube world, that's the most valuable asset you can have. As Robert Greene says in the 48 Laws of Power, Law number 5, so much depends on reputation. Guard it with your life.